Hi, and welcome back to the It's a Girl Thing podcast. You're here with me, your wonderful host, Kate, and I'm super excited for a Coco Confessions today. It's been a little while since we've had one of these, so we're going to kick back in with 3 confessions to get us back on track. So I'm currently working with minimal devices, so we're going to read off my laptop today. And I'm super excited, so make sure you go and grab your cocoa, your coffee, your tea, whatever drink of choice you need today. Today I've got a lovely little hot chockey, which I'm super excited for as we share all your stories. If you haven't already or you have more to share, make sure you go and submit in a story onto the Google form. You can find it on any social media platform or in the episode descriptions below. Let's get into it. We're doing entry number 1, entry number 18, and entry number 9 today. Let's start with entry number 1. I was a young, very timid college student. I went on a first date with a guy. Exciting. I get that. I'm here for that. It had gone really, really well. He said he was looking for a long-term relationship, not a hookup, and I was too. See, this is where I'm a little bit apprehensive. I don't know if it's my own experiences, my friends' experiences, or whether it's your confessions that have made me very wary of a man who says he's in it for a relationship, not a hookup. I really liked him. We talked about a lot of things for several hours and then ended up making out. Ooh. I'm excited but also worried because most of the dating story times that we end up with are not so good. One of the things we talked about was what we were looking for and how I don't want to do anything more than making out unless things got more serious. Valid, honestly, stick to your boundaries, girls. We love that. He was very receptive to this. Green flag. Said it was understandable and agreed. When he said he really liked me and asked me on a second date, I quickly agreed, but reiterated and explicitly told him that I don't want to do anything sexual on our second date. Honestly, that's so valid. I wouldn't want to do anything like that on a second date either. Like, personally, I'm waiting till marriage, but like, I can get that from any perspective. Like, you don't even know that much about the guy yet. And if you're somebody who does sleep with somebody on the first date or the second date, then you do you. Like, know your own bodies, know your own boundaries, and respect them. We watched a movie at my dorm for the second date. It's giving Netflix and chill. I'm a little worried. The college was in the middle of nowhere and we were broke, so there wasn't much to do around. That makes sense as to why we're at home and not actually on a date, you know, like an out date. The first date was at a park, lol. Honestly, valid. My very first date was at a park as well, so I get that. Well, I just read the next sentence. I'm just gonna mentally prepare. He put my hand on his crotch. I reminded him of the conversation we'd had, and I said under no uncertain terms that I wasn't interested in anything more than kissing. He said okay and apologized. Red flag number 1. He already knew about that boundary and still tried to break it. You tell him about the boundary again. He said okay, like he'd never done anything in the first place. And then did it again, 20 minutes later. Red flag number 2. If he doesn't respect your boundaries around this, how will he respect your boundaries around everything else? I told him he was making me uncomfortable and to please stop doing that. Honestly, the second time would be enough to make me leave, or kick him out, or make a scene. I feel for you, girl. Half an hour later, he started shifting around and said he was getting comfortable. It was dark in the room, and the way we were cuddling, I couldn't really see him without rolling over. Then he grabbed my hand and put it on his crotch again. Men, when will you learn? No means no. A girl's boundaries are a girl's boundaries. Girl, that's red flag number 3, and he should be long gone. Turns out, him just getting comfortable was pulling down his pants and underwear, so he'd put my hand on his beard junk. Red flag number 4, 5, 6 million. You should be long gone. Sorry, that's just me. Sorry, trigger warning for anybody who doesn't like the sounds of fake gagging. But, horrified. Oh, I tried to pull away and he held it forcefully for a minute. Absolutely not. Red flag 8, 9, 10, 11 million. Get out. No boundaries, no nothing. This is why we can't trust men. Anyway, I freaked out and was like, what the? So I said I had to go to the bathroom and texted my best friend asking her to fake an emergency. Oh, that's, at least you were ready to get out at this point. But girl, so glad for that friend. So glad you had somebody who could help try and get you out of that situation. He texted me a few hours later and asked me on a third date. Wow, I'm purely shocked that he actually thought that went well enough to try and get another date. I was like, what the? Dude, you just sexually assaulted me. Valid. Girl, I would have just got out of there, blocked his number, and that'd be the end of it. The thing that stuck out to me more than anything else was how genuinely confused he seemed about how he could have sexually assaulted me. I have no words. Like, truly, no words. I was like, we had an hour-long discussion about what we were looking for in a relationship, boundaries in relationships, and waiting a while before we had sex. I told you half a dozen times that I didn't want to do anything sexual more than kissing before this date. And every time you put my hand on your crotch, I said, don't do that. I don't like it. I don't want to do anything sexual. And then you pulled down your pants and forcefully stopped me from pulling my hand away while I was telling you no. That is the literal definition of a sexual assault. Honestly, go off, girl. Put him in his place. He apologized again and asked for another chance, and I blocked him. Good. Blocking him was the right thing to do. I don't have any more words. I'm just horrified about men. Let's go to entry number 18. So it all started on a lazy Saturday afternoon. I was feeling inspired and I just had to write everything down. My diary was my escape, a place where I could be totally honest about my crush on this guy named Josh, my hopes for the future, and even my fears about fitting in for school. Honestly, my diary saw me through many, many years of my life, and quite horridly, it's so funny to look back on. But my escape, I feel that, girl, I get you. I remember scribbling down my thoughts, feeling all the emotions flow onto the page and thinking about how safe it was to keep it all to myself. Apologies. Honestly, I feel like this is giving like sibling or friend steals diary, admits deepest, darkest thoughts. It's giving like, I don't know, dork diary vibes. But then my little brother, being the sneak he is, decided to play detective. He was supposed to be playing video games, but instead he wandered into my room. Little brothers. I can't really say much. I'm an only child, so I can't comment on the sibling dynamic. When I came back from grabbing a snack, I caught a glimpse of him flipping through my diary. Girly pop, we've got to find safe spaces for our diaries because people will read them. My heart raced as I rushed over, but it was too late. He had already started reading the most cringe-worthy parts out loud. Well, I guess at least he was only reading them to himself. Never mind. The worst part, my parents were in the kitchen, and they could hear everything. Ooh. I guess you're going to be mocked for a little while, girlfriend. I could practically feel the heat rising in my cheeks as my brother read my entry about how I thought Josh smiled at me one day and how it made my heart race. My mum came over trying to suppress her laughter while my dad just shook his head in disbelief. They were loving it. Every word my brother read felt like a dagger to my pride. I wanted to crawl under the table and disappear. Honestly, if the whole writing in your diary thing doesn't work out for you, you could be an author. I would read books. You just have a way with words. It's so valid, so loving it. Also, I feel you about the whole entries thing. I think I wrote in probably about year 3, so I was about 8, about how my crush nudged up to me on a little couch we had in our class one day. And it was like, Oh my gosh, I can't believe it. So I get you. After what felt like an eternity, I finally snatched the diary away from him, but the damage was done. My family couldn't stop teasing me for weeks. Every time I'd walk into a room, they'd start whispering dramatically, pretending to read my love letters to Josh. It became a running joke, and now, even months later, they still bring it up. It's like my diary turned into family entertainment. Now I keep it locked away. Good call. But honestly, it's hard to forget that moment. Honestly, that is so valid. Should have been locked away sooner. Girls, if you have diaries, if you have journals, if you have anywhere you put your deepest, darkest thoughts in, hide it. We don't trust nobody with those thoughts except ourselves and maybe our therapists. Well, I guess you learned your lesson about where to store your diary. I don't really have anything more for you today, but we have one very last short little entry, so this will be a good little quick story time. One time, my friends and I were at a cafe, and I went up to order a hot chocolate. Haha, cheers! Hot chocolates! Everything was going fine until the barista handed me my change and said, "Enjoy your drink." All this is making me think of is the TikTok trend. Have a good day. You too. Or like when you're at a business and it's like, for example, a trampoline park. And the worker's like, have a good time jumping or whatever. And you're like, you too. And then they go, me too. And then they do the whole like video showing the worker hanging out with the person. And then they're like, oh yeah, have a good shift. And you're like, me, you too. And then you're like, me too. And then they swap roles. This is the whole thing. I hope you know what I'm talking about because otherwise it make no sense. And here we go. And for some ungodly reason, my brain short-circuited and replied, thanks, you too. Oh, we've all done it. We've all been there. The barista just stared at me. My friends, fully wheezing. One almost wet herself. Like, I know it's funny, but I think all of us do it enough that I don't think it needed to be that funny, but maybe it was. Maybe it's contextual. I tried to play it cool, but instead of walking away like a normal person, I panicked and said, I mean, if you ever get a break, like later, if you want a drink, okay, bye. And then walked in directly into a glass door. Okay, if your friends weren't wetting themselves and dying laughing before then, they should have been after this. That I would have laughed at. The Me Too thing's not that big of a deal. But walking directly into a glass door after trying to dig yourself out of that hole, comedic relief.